Good evening, everybody. I'm Grim Reaper, and with me, as always,
Cynical Squid.
and
Perry the Pig.
and tonight we've got also with us Mr. Kohtas. Mr. Kohtas, how you doing, sir?
How's it going tonight, guys? Doing well.
Awesome, man. Doing well as well. So tell us a little bit about yourself. How long have you been streaming for?
So I've only been streaming Last Epoch now for about 3 weeks, but beforehand I was streaming Diablo 3, right when it came out. We're talking about 8-9 years ago now, something like that, almost 10 maybe. So I streamed that for about 3 years. I had amassed a pretty good following, and then of course, out of nowhere, my computer just explodes, and then I go missing for about 7 years. So I'm just getting back into the streaming stuff.
Okay, very well. And so far, we've had conversations off stream. You talked a little bit about your Diablo 3 play. Tell us a little bit about that and about where your ranking was at in the ladder system.
Well, I mained Witch Doctor every season. And like I said, I played the game from the release all the way up until Reaper of Souls, right? That's what it's called. I haven't played it in a while now, but Diablo 3. But I played it for the first 5 seasons. I maintained top 100, sometimes getting to like the 50, top 25 Witch Doctor on softcore as far as greater rifts go. And that's every season, 1 through 5. But yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. I mean, it was a really simple game, and if you've ever played D3, you know that especially back then the ladder would fluctuate a lot because you'd have guys playing for 15, 16, sometimes 20 hours straight, and then you take a nap for an hour or two. Yeah, oh yeah. It was pretty hardcore when it first came out. You take a nap for like 2-3 hours, and you wake up and you're like not even on the ladder anymore. Everybody's already surpassed you because you got guys that'll just marathon game for 48 hours just to maintain like a top 5 spot. But they always drop off because they sprint and they don't go through the marathon. I always did the marathon. I would play for about 8 hours, take about 4 or 5 hours, sleeping, total degenerate gaming, like just wake up, jump back on, go back to sleep, wake up, jump back on. But yeah, I mean, and then mid-season it would kind of teeter off and people would stop playing, and it was pretty safe to just go back to like normal playing after that.
Okay.
But that's my experience as far as like competitive ladder. I never played Diablo 2. I played Path of Exile really casually after like the first couple of leagues they had.
Awesome, man. Perry, do you have any questions off the top of your dome right now?
I do have questions off the top of my head right now.
Awesome.
So you've been playing competitively in Diablo 3, of course, right?
Diablo 3,
and
yeah.
You starting to play some Last Epoch right now. Before I ask specifically about Arena, what do you think about Last Epoch? What have you been doing? What got you in the door to play this game?
Well, I was a World of Warcraft player, hardcore World of Warcraft player from release of the game all the way up until about a year ago. Never dropped my sub or anything, played all the way through. And then I finally just had enough. Like I would take little breaks for other games. And during one of my breaks, I picked up, it's going to be a little bit long-winded because all I do is play MMOs typically. But I played Final Fantasy 14, and then eventually I got bored of that. So I was like, all right, well, what's new? And then I remember seeing Last Epoch a while ago, and I was like, well, I wonder how that game's doing. And I jumped on, did some searching around, and I found like Boardman's videos and stuff like that. And I was like, this game actually looks pretty cool. And bought it, started playing it, and I was just instantly hooked. It dug into me, and I was just like, I can't stop playing it now. And I've been playing it religiously for just over a month now. I think it's a month and a few days now that I've been playing. And the fact that I'm keeping track means that I'm really into the game. So, I mean, I can't stop playing it. I have a problem. Somebody help me.
we all do. We all have that same problem.
This is my cry for help.
Please reserve those helpful phone calls for after the podcast is done. We need you here now for the time being.
Yep.
Have you done any arena stuff so far? I know
I've done very little arena.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, very little. I've dabbled in it. I think I've got up to like 100 waves or something like that, and then just something will just squash me, and I'm like, I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm not ready for this right now. I'm still kind of like learning a lot of the mechanics of the game. I'm really enjoying the echo grinding and just kind of like building. I'm mostly a meme build player. I love meme builds. So anytime I see like a meme build pop up, I'm like, oh, I gotta try that out. I'm not like a meta player. You're not gonna ever see me making build guides about like this is the best arena build. You have to run this. If anything, I'll come up with some like silly crap that you'll maybe get to empowered with if you're lucky. But that's how I like to play. So I'm not a min maxer. Don't expect. I'm gonna make that clear now because I've had a couple people come into my chats while I'm streaming. Hey, what do you think about this? I'm like, buddy, I have no idea. Go ask Perry. Go ask Grim. Go ask Dread. Go ask somebody else that has a better idea of what's going on. Like I have a general idea of like who plays what classes. So if somebody asks me like a really complex question, I'm like, what do I do with Primalist? I'm like, go to Flintler's channel, click follow. If you see him go live, start asking him because I have no idea. I'm a Necromancer main. Like I play Necromancer. That's
are you
basically it.
summoners in every game you play?
Every game, yep.
All right,
Every
you're the
game I
summoner
play.
guy now. There.
Excellent.
Yeah, I don't want it. You can have it. I'll just send everyone your way. I've had
If you want bad advice, come to my channel. I'll give you
Done.
number one worst piece of advice: play Necromancer. It's horrible. It's horrible, and I don't know why I can't stop playing it. But it's the love I have.
How have you been so far with well, I guess so. You've been around since Justin TV days, right? Like you've been
a long time.
streaming for a long time. Took a break for a bit, but how do you deal with like backseat gaming? Do you like that? Do you not like that?
Generally speaking, it depends on the game. So if it's something that I haven't played before and I'm really excited to learn about like firsthand, I'll basically just ask people, hey, maybe not backseat. I don't go as far as like ban people. I'm pretty good at just ignoring it. One of the benefits of having one monitor to stream on is I don't have to look at chat if I don't want to.
You know what?
Okay.
That's the new tech. Okay.
It's not bad. I look at chat on my phone. I take it. I put it right in front of my keyboard. Every once in a while, I'll be gaming, and I just kind of like peek down at it. Kind of like what Grim does.
Exactly.
If I see too many like you should be doing, I just okay. Just keep doing what I generally won't even finish. I won't say it out loud. I generally ignore it if I want to, but typically speaking, I don't mind. If somebody comes in and I'm playing Last Epoch, for example, and I'm running a minion build and they see that I'm picking up, passive nodes that maybe aren't too great, and they have like an idea of what might be better, I have no problem trying it. I mean, I've only been playing for a month, so if somebody's been playing longer than me, I'm like, I'm totally open to learning more and trying stuff out. So
I'm glad that you're the Necromancer guy, because Mama was trying to pass that mantle on to me the other night in his stream. I was like, no, I'm not a Necromancer, man.
Yeah, I think I got a little bit further to go before I'm the Necromancer guy, but I love Necromancer. I plan to learn as much as I can about it.
We always need more Necromancer players in the community.
Yeah, because the class sucks.
We've got like one, so now two. We got two people now. So
because the mastery sucks. It's not right now in its current state. It's not worth playing. I would not recommend it. Go play Sentinel. Go play any Sentinel build.
Yeah.
Go play any Sentinel, or if you want pets, go play Primalist. Play Beastmaster.
Sentinel does have pets. You can do forged weapons.
There you go.
Manifest armor is a thing.
Whatever you do, don't play Necromancer. It's not worth it in its current state. So I've said this a few times on in streams and stuff like that. I feel like Acolyte, they're trying to pack too much into that class. I feel like they should have split Acolyte into maybe Acolyte and then the Summoner, whatever they want to call the Summoner. Have 3 different types of summoning, like permanent minions, maybe big minions, minions that decay, or minions similar to like the Witch Doctor on D3. They got the bears, maybe just summoning spells. and then made the acolyte turn into the lich, maybe a blood mage, and then the warlock, something like that. I feel like they're just trying to pack too much into that class, and we don't have warlock yet, so maybe warlock's going to fix a lot of those problems, but I doubt it personally. But it feels like there's too many different archetypes that they're trying to mash into them. It's similar to the same thing that happened with early World of Warcraft when they were developing the Warlock, which was one of the last classes that they developed, and they just packed too much awkward stuff and like too many good ideas that just weren't fleshed out well enough, and try to pack it into that class. And the class was really bad at launch, and I feel like it's kind of the similar situation here in Last Epoch is, because you can't make it's hard to balance a minion build alongside a caster build and make it not be crazy strong or super weak, without a lot of fine tuning, a lot of careful things. If they just separated, this is the summoner class, and then this is the acolyte that turns into like all these dark magic, and then you got all your demons, their minions or whatever you can summon over here. I feel like that would have been a much better to take with the class.
It sounds like, and this totally might be me projecting at this point, but it sounds like you're saying that there's no similarities between necromancer and lich, and like you're either like a necromancer and you spec all your points over here, or you're like a lich.
Well,
and you spec
I mean,
all your points over here.
no, I mean there's definitely similarities. I can see the concept that they came up with, but ask anybody, Grim, when you play an acolyte, what do you play? Typically,
usually necromancer. I only
most people who play acolyte are either a hardcore lich player or they're a hardcore necromancer player. They're never like, I like to dabble in both because they don't feel the same to me personally, and that's all I've played for this past month. I mean, I don't even want to know how many hours I have played on necromancer, but I've had probably about 4 of them up to level 90 now. And they all, I've loved a couple liches. I can't really get it past 50 because it doesn't have the same feeling to me, and it's not anything to do with the past. I usually like, I like Voldemort. I like evil spellcasting curses. I like edgy boys and stuff like that. That's my type of play style, and it just doesn't really feel like that. And it could be because Warlock's missing. Maybe Warlock's going to add a lot of different utility or tools or something like that will make it feel better and kind of gel it together a little more. But
you got me thinking about Rogue as well, because Rogue to me has a lot of the same issues. Not with the skill tree at all, because I think that like the Rogue, like the Blade Master and the Marksman skill trees, there's like enough overlap there where you end up specking between the two. But like the same question you asked to Grim about like, do you play lich builds, do you play necromancer builds, and everyone has one answer to that question. Then everyone's like both. But like Blade Master and like Marksman are like very, very different. Whereas like Forge Guard, Void Knight, Paladin, they're all kind of samey. They all feel similar. Would you prefer stuff that feels samey, or like do you like the stuff that's like very distinct?
I'd rather them be. So to me, if you have like Sentinel is a perfect example of this. You have the Sentinel. No matter what you're playing, you feel like that heavy armor guy. Like you're either wielding a giant sword or you got your sword and shield. Like you feel like that. No matter if you're playing Void Knight, Forge Guard, or Paladin, right? You feel like that guy. You feel like you're kind of like the warrior, the Paladin. Are you a dark Paladin? Are you like a magical smithy who's conjuring his weapons and stuff like that? Or are you like the righteous paladin, consecrated ground and stuff like that? They all kind of have that same kind of base. It's just which path you want to take on it. And I feel like Necromancer is a perfect example of the opposite. You're either going to be this form-shifting, lich swinging your scythe and attacking or ripping the blood out of people, or you're it's close. The only similarity is that it's dark magic. There's no real cohesion between them. I don't look at summoning minions. Like if you look at D&D, for example, you get a sorcerer who's got dark magic and stuff like that. Or you could take the warlock and like, I haven't played in a long time, but it's probably a really bad example for me to choose. But D&D, for example, there's dark magics that aren't combined. They don't even come close to each other. You know, if you're a warlock, you're cursing stuff. You're getting favors from your demons and everything like that. You know, or if you're, you know, whatever, like a blood mage or something like that. There's no similarities other than their evil magics. You know, and I feel like that's kind of how Necromancer feels. Like they're evil magics, so let's mash them into that one base class. I feel
Do you need to have a Necromancer in a game like this?
you need to. I don't think so. I don't
I've
think
never
you
thought about that
need-
until now.
Yeah, I don't think you need to, but people love pet builds, and the people who love pet builds are like me. They're hardcore dedicated to playing pet builds. They will find a way to make it good, even when it's the worst build out there. We will. Like, we are like some of the most dedicated RPG players play pet builds where you're summoning.
I think you're onto
minions
something. I think you're right.
He's 100% accurate in that assessment right
it's
there.
either if you're not a summoner player, you hate playing a summoner class, and that's why you would ask the question like, do we need Necromancer? To me, yes, absolutely. I wouldn't be playing this game without a Necromancer class. That's one of the things that sold me. I saw a Necromancer build guide that Boardman put out, and I was like, that looks badass. I'm going to play this game. That
Which
sold
one
me.
was that one?
It was the cold ranged minions, the one that I played for like 3 weeks because I couldn't get anything else to wear. But now that I know a little bit more, I'm kind of like tweaking. You know, the build I'm running right now is I'm using like 6 different uniques that all have some sort of, you know, synergies with each other. That it's not great. It's really bad, but it's a lot of fun to play. And I can do, you know, like probably 100, 150 corruption. I'm not going to be pushing crazy corruption, but it's still fun to play, so I'm playing.
You got to try that loop with the Bone Curse yet? With the minions and the Bone Curse?
I haven't. No, the next thing I want to try is the Giant Abomination. That's the next build I want to try out.
It looks so cool, doesn't it?
It looks
I would
awesome.
say it just looks badass.
It just looks awesome. I don't care if it's great. Like I said at the start of the podcast, I don't care if it's a good build. I'm not a competitive player anymore. I don't have room for stress like that in my life right now. So I just go out and I just have fun. Like if it's fun, I'm doing it. As long as it's not total dog crap, you know. Like I'm willing to play and just have fun with it. You know, you won't see me pushing arenas. You know, I'm not Lizard. I'm the complete opposite spectrum of Lizard. You know.
you remind me about one of my observations from like being a new Last Epoch player of things that I thought were like stock standard in action RPGs and the things that like weren't actually in Last Epoch. So my example would be like block. Like I feel like every game I've ever played is like, well, if you block something, you take no damage. If you block, you take no damage.
Right.
And then like you have to cap the block because if block went to 100, then you would just never take any damage, and that's dumb. And then Last Epoch kind of like turns that on its head, where it introduces block effect, and like every time I think about that, I'm like, damn, that was such a good idea. What a really elegant solution.
Yeah, it makes it super engaging to build block.
Yeah, and you're making me think about this right now. Like does there need to be like, here's the Necromancer class? Because you could do it differently, right? You could do like, here's the Forge Guard and the minions that the Forge Guard does, or like here's the Lich and then here's like some minions that the Lich gets to play with.
Right.
Oh my goodness! I just thought of something. It's a compliment that I didn't think I was ever gonna give. Oh, you know what game I want to give a shout out to?
What's
You're
that?
not gonna like it.
Oh no!
Because no one likes it. Called Magic Legends. You ever play
Magic
that?
Legends. There you go.
Yeah, I played it.
Magic Legends, despite being a smoldering dumpster fire of a game,
That's
Magic Legends
way too nice.
gave minions to all 5 classes. All 5 classes had some kind of minion thing going on. So like if you were like a summoner player and I want to be a necromancer, like you could do anything and just do like the minion thing within that. That's kind of interesting. I've never thought about that in like the framework of Last Epoch.
I don't know. I feel like for me, like I need that. I need to summon skeletons and zombies and stuff. Summoning a bunch of swords isn't appealing to me. It might be appealing to somebody else, and I think it should be a thing that exists. Because I mean, in concept it's cool, but I like my creepy zombies like jumping on stuff and exploding and blood and guts and gore, and I love that stuff. I'm a horror fan. I love all that. So it's just like it makes the game feel that much more comfortable, and like it fits with my personality a lot more. Whereas somebody who wants to magically summon a bunch of swords to go attack something or whatever, or shields to help protect him, I think that's really cool too, and they should have that. But yeah, I would say that you kind of need like a dark necromancer class as well as the others. I think they're similar, but they're also very different for very different people.
Grim, did you plan this podcast for like right next to the first day of October, just so we could have the spooky guy on as the guest?
No,
Is that why we timed it like this?
no.
Man.
Just happened.
Sure.
Man, me and Grim have a lot of similarities. That's why you'll usually find me lurking in his chat, messing with him and stuff.
I do like playing Necromancer too from time to time, but I was working on Infernal Shade for like ever, and everybody's like, "Oh, Infernal Shade, that's such a bad skill." I'm like, "I'll make it work." Never got it to work. Only found one thing that it worked for, and that's just buffing minions. Other than that, it's like shit terrible.
Yeah, you got to throw it on the Abomination, right? Along with Dreadshade.
I was putting it on the rogues. I was trying to get them to be all hasted up and speedy and just apply a bunch of poison.
See, and that's one of the things that really gets me about the game. And like, don't get me wrong, because I'm going to say a lot of negative stuff about the game, but I'm having a lot of fun. I couldn't see myself playing anything else right now. And I think that's where a lot of this comes from, because I want to see it get better. There's like this weird thing that I've noticed. You can sit in the build planner, right, for days coming up with a build and be like, this is going to work. This is going to be amazing, right? This everything, all the math works out and everything. And then when you get in game and you're playing with it, it's just crap. It's just like the worst thing you've ever played. Like, it doesn't matter how, like, you sit there with a calculator sitting there like, okay, well, if I'm doing this, this level corruption, they're going to have this much, extra health and damage, and I'm going to be able to survive, and I'm going to kill them perfectly fine, no problem. Then you get in there, and they just wallop you for no reason. And then it's just like you build this this build all the way up to this point, and you're cruising through, right? You get to empowered and everything, and then all of a sudden, smack, 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 everything just starts beating you down. And you're like, I spent 5 days theory crafting this build, and now it's just horrible. On paper, it looks so good. It looks like it's going to work perfectly, but once you get it in game, it's like something's not right there. Some math or something just isn't adding up. I don't know.
That really sounds like a Chapter 9 thing, doesn't it? Is it Chapter 9 monsters that you're running into? Is it the new ones?
No, I'll tell you right now. Well, in Empowered, yeah, they're rough.
They're so scary.
But it's not
terrifying.
Just them. I've been walled by just random stuff sometimes. I mean, and that's the nature of ARPGs. Like, that's just what's gonna happen. But when you spend like a week, and I don't do that. I take other people's builds and then I rip them apart and then I put them back together in like a form that like I think that I'll enjoy. I can't sit there for 5 days theory crafting a build. My brain would melt. I can't. I don't have that type of attention. I don't have that type of brain to come up with builds. I can take somebody's build, I can rip it down, and then piece it back together so that it fits my play style. But
you're taking other people's builds and taking them apart and then piecing them. You're like an actual necromancer in real life.
There you go. Yeah. It bleeds into every aspect of my life, I guess. Yeah, no, I'll see like what they're doing, and I'm like, well, how would it work if I went from like bleed to poison, or if I went from like physical to necrotic damage, and build up just pure necrotic on my minions, or just different concepts like that. I'm really good at taking somebody's build that they've obviously done really well with, and just kind of like making it my own thing. But I can't start from ground zero. I don't know enough yet in the game. I haven't studied that enough in the game to go from like a blank planner to like, this is what this build's going to be. But yeah, I don't know where I was going with that. I just started rambling.
I want to
No,
say
that was good. Just let you go, yeah.
your description of the theory crafting thing and then the build not working perfectly encapsulates literally every Vision tournament I've ever played in.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense, right?
Because I'm just like, man, this build's really sick on paper, and then I get like 2 days into the Vision tournament, and I'm like, bruh, I'm done. This is trash. What is wrong with me?
Last night I watched Flintler spend about 3 hours on this potential build that he's going to run.
Is that the Maelstrom build?
Yeah, and
he's really into that Maelstrom build.
He's like, this is going to be great. This is good. I think this is going to work. But I can't wait to see it just fail. No hate to Flintler. It's just you know what's going to happen because that's just how it goes. And like right now, there's some like mechanics that you like just like can't account for all the time or something. Yeah, no, I mean, back on the Chapter 9 stuff, I had no problem cruising through Chapter 9 on any of my really crappy Necromancers I played. And it's probably a Necromancer thing, because I know that they are really good for getting through the campaign. They're really good for that. But once you get up to Empowered, that's where they really just plateau and drop.
Yeah. The Empowered version of those Chapter 9 monsters, that's what I hear a ton of complaints.
They're insane.
Dude, they're insane. The Crystal Guardian guys on Empowered? Nah, bro. I'm like, let me hit Town Portal. I don't really need to complete this Echo. It's fine.
Yeah, I don't need to be here. I'm just going to leave.
Build minion health regen, you'll be okay in Empowered. That's how I got through Empowered with my Necromancer, was having the minion health regen.
Let me ask you, how fun was that?
How fun was it?
Genuinely, how fun was it needing to build minion health regen in order to just barely get through Empowered?
I'll put it to you like this. I once had my appendix taken out. I'd rather get my appendix taken out 2 more times than to play Necromancer through Empowered.
Why can't Necromancer be good and fun? Why does it have to be one or the other?
It's like being on a road trip.
If I had an EHG in front of me right now, that's what I would ask. Why does Necromancer have to be fun or good? Why can't it be both? Even if it's brought down a little bit on either end. Like these last changes that they did were really awkward, really weird.
What didn't you like? I don't know enough about Necromancer. What don't you like about the changes?
Well, they made this. You had it. I mean, I got pretty verbal about it on the forums, but people were like, "Oh yeah, we said some stuff." People were like, "Oh, I don't like my minions decaying." It's like they're undead, rotting minions. What like? Yeah, you're gonna have to be.
But they're magical. They're magical, Kohtas.
Yeah, that's an excuse that somebody made, and it was too much. It's like, and all everybody said is like, why isn't it like Grim Dawn? Why isn't it like Path of Exile? It's like, because it's Last Epoch. It's not those games. Stop expecting these different ARPGs to bleed into. If you want to play that, go play those games. Stop making that rub off into Last Epoch, because if anything kills games, that's what happens. It's people's expectations from other games bleeding into the current game that they're playing.
I like that.
What's that?
Yeah, I like what you're saying.
Just
let Last Epoch
let them do
Epoch.
what they want to do. Stop, like, because EHG they're amazing. They really are. They really are. Like, they have their moments, I'm sure. I mean, I've only been playing for a month. This is my only patch that I've been through. And so I've seen some pretty like weird stuff, but it seems like they genuinely really care about the product that they're making. And I haven't gotten that from any other developer in a long time. So I'm really glad that they're doing that. But they also seem like they're too kind, where they don't want to stick with their initial vision. Anytime enough people complain about something, and enough people means the people posting on the forums, which is like 5 people in Necromancer. Go look at the Necromancer forum. See how many posts have been made in the past 6 months.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm legitimately shocked if there's 5 of them.
Yeah, there's probably 4 now. I don't know. One of them probably quit. I don't know. They went over to Sentinel this past patch. That's what they did. They're playing Javelin. They're playing Javelin or Warpath, but or they're playing Perry's favorite build. What's the orbs there?
The walking simulator build.
Yeah, that's what they're playing. They're killing things with Orbeez.
What is an orb but not a purple minion?
I mean, we can agree to disagree.
We did talk about people summoning other
you're
things.
Not wrong. You're
earlier.
not wrong. It's accomplishing the same thing. But yeah, like people were saying, "Oh, we don't like decaying minions." It's like, yeah, well, then don't play the Necromancer. That's part of the fantasy of the Necromancer. Is you pop Dreadshade on them, which I get was really strong, but you had to deal with the drawbacks of it killing your minions eventually. And sometimes it wouldn't kill one or two; it'd kill half your squad that you went in with, because you weren't maintaining it properly. It was really strong, but I don't feel like it was overpowered. I feel like they could have tweaked it a little tiny bit without having to mess the whole tree up just so that people can get permanent minions. I don't think that was necessary.
I've got a follow-up question for you then.
Mm.
How do you feel about like designed clunkiness in a game like this? Like something that like the developers put it in, it's intentionally clunky.
I hate it. They should.
So how do you feel about minions that decay over time?
I don't think that's clunky. I think that's part of. Yeah, I don't feel like that's clunky. I enjoyed it. It's like I have to maintain, because if you maintain it properly, like if you micromanaged it well, you never had to deal with it. But as soon as you got like really complacent, you're like just banging out echo after echo. Before you know it, oh crap, we're fighting the boss, and I got 2 minions because I wasn't paying attention. I think that is a very good way to develop, because it's engaging. It brings you into the game. Now, because I'm using the Dreadshade that doesn't decay, because why not? There's no reason not to at this point, because I'm not getting more damage because I'm not using that. The damage difference is minor, and then you got to deal with the poison on your minions and all that. I mean they're just not surviving right now anyway, so anything can help. But yeah, like I think that's really engaging to play like that. And now when I go in, I just make sure I hit Dreadshade every 30 seconds or whatever it is, and that's it. It's not fun. It's not engaging. My minions die to stupid crap rather than gradually decaying. Because they're not killing stuff fast enough. That's why they're having trouble surviving. They need Dreadshade, whether it's Dreadshade in its worst form like it is right now, in my opinion, or it was in its best form in the last patch. They're not killing stuff fast enough. That's why they're gradually just getting beaten up. Their life doesn't tick up fast enough. You need a crap ton of minion regen now just to keep them alive. So,
yeah. Which, going back to that, what I was going to say about that is the best way to describe playing Necromancer and Empowered is imagine going on a road trip with your parents, but the moment that you wake up and get ready to go on that road trip that morning, they tell you they sold the car for Amish horse and buggy, and that's what you're going on. That's what it's like to try to go through Empowered. It's super slow.
Yeah. I get where you're going with that. Yeah, I feel you're cruising along. Like last patch, it wasn't bad. Last patch you could kind of play these wonky, silly builds, and you were killing stuff fast enough, so it wasn't super noticeable. But with the Dreadshade nerf, you just notice it. You notice it a lot now, which I get, and they, I don't know. I just don't agree with we have to make minions permanent. If you want to play permanent minions, go play Beastmaster, and then when your pet dies, you got to stand on it and look like an idiot.
Yeah, stand on it and look like an idiot while you get killed by something.
You're complaining because you have to do this to resummon your minion rather than sit there like.
To be fair, you could take the minion off of your bar and then put the minion back on your bar and then resummon it.
That sounds fun.
So, yeah.
That sounds like a really good time. That sounds like a
my video game fun. I don't think so.
Somebody's gonna macro that as a macro.
Yeah, right.
Sounds awful.
You could too, but
macro it takes it off the bar and puts it back on there and sums it for you automatically.
Yeah.
So my last experience playing a necromancer,
I heard it went really, really well.
hopefully it's actually my last, and I'll never ever play it again. Especially after hearing the Amish horse and buggy comparison from a second ago. But I played I played wraiths, and wraiths are by definition like a decaying minion, right? So it perfectly fits that thing. You can make them non-decay, but then you only get 2 of them, and normally you get like 8 or something like that.
Which is also really fun.
What, the 2 or the 8?
Yeah, the 2 minions. That sounds like a lot of fun.
Oh, I haven't done it, but I probably won't. You know what?
I've seen.
Right. You're gonna love it.
I've seen a couple builds do it. And I'm like, that looks horrible. Especially going from like 90 plus rates, just all like dropping your FPS down and everything is great.
And now you get 8.
Yeah.
So I tried it, and
Cool.
and the biggest complaint that I had about it was I was trying to use putrid wraiths, which is like it's a range.
Yeah, they
minion
look
that shoots
cool.
one poison thing, and my issue with it is like the wraiths shoot one projectile, and like it hits one monster. It doesn't pierce. It doesn't explode. It just hits one monster one time, and then like half a second later it shoots again, and it's just like slow clear speed like that. That's where I'm coming from when I say like my experience has been bad.
Yeah, it sounds terrible.
Yeah,
I haven't played with wraiths. Aside from like the having 100 wraiths, because I saw that build and I was like, I gotta try it just for fun. And I'll tell you, I've never had the most fun in any game getting like 5 FPS in my life. just watching all that fire and just mayhem, and like my computer's just like breathing in the corner, like stop, please stop. Like more wraiths.
Well, like the best part
We
about
can
that
get
one
at
is
least one more.
the best part about that is waiting for all of that to be done to find out if you're dead or not.
You get like the stutter, and all of a sudden there's fireballs just sitting in the middle of your screen. You're like, that was not moving.
Are we still talking about Last Epoch, or are we talking about Path of Exile? I missed it. What game are we talking about?
No one mentioned anything about Stormblast Mine, so I think we're still talking about Last Epoch.
Okay. So I gotta ask, Kohtas, is there like a unique item or like a build or an interaction that you're just like waiting to play or waiting to experiment with?
Not particularly. I need Valdir's because I have been playing a Bleed Flurry Blade Masters, and I've been having a lot of fun because it's fast. That build is fast.
Yes.
Now we're talking about good builds.
Oh yeah, that sounds like a build that actually kills stuff.
Yeah, it does. Oh yeah, and I got Salt the Wound a few days ago. I slapped that on. I was like, oh, I'm getting like 80k ticks with the bleeds and stuff like that, which is neat. I mean, it's a lot, but my bleed damage still isn't even that high. I just need Valdir now so that I can survive. But man, that build is fast.
Yeah,
that build is very, very fast, and I was having a lot. I'm having a lot of fun with it. That, and I'm playing the Leap Quake Shaman that Aaron Action RPG put out. I made a couple little, just minor tweaks, nothing crazy, nothing that changes the build, but it's fun just being like Mario, just bouncing on everything's head and just killing it, and grouping it up and just slam. Like it's so much fun. It's slow. That build's very slow, but it lives through everything, and you just crush. I mean, I'm two-shotting bosses. I'm jumping on them, and then I'm self-casting Earthquake again, and they're just getting stunned, and then they're dead. Like it's amazing. That build's so much fun. I haven't gotten into Empowered yet, but it's a lot of fun.
I like watching the smile get bigger and bigger in your face as you talk about Goomba stomping on things.
Oh yeah, so,
yes.
I used to play the old Leapquake Barbarian build in D3, and it was just like you got those special boots, and then you got the belt that just let you just spam jump on everything, and then it just did the explosion when you hit. I loved that build. That was one of my favorite builds to play. Just stomping on everything.
Was that the one that ran Blade of the Tribes, where like everything triggered avalanche and all that stuff too?
Yeah.
Yeah, that build was a lot.
I like Shaman. I like Shaman. If I was gonna say like a second class that I really like would be, or master I really like would be Shaman. I like it. I love playing the Avalanche build. I played Quiet's Spriggan build for a bit, and then I gradually swapped over to the Leap Quake build with it, and that's where I am now on it. That and the Blade Dancer with the Bleed Flurry is really fun.
Honestly, you could have just said you played Spriggan. The quiet part was implied.
Right. I got like 15. I got like 15 of his belts. I'm just starting a little stash, a little collection of Quiet's belts.
I was thinking about doing the same. I feel like I dropped 7 or 8 of those the other day.
Mm-hmm. They drop a
Yeah.
lot. Yeah.
I would say that they do.
I got one that's almost perfectly rolled too. I love it.
The Quiet Forest or whatever it's called.
Yeah,
Called?
the Belt of the Quiet Forest or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, it gives you the armor. It lets you regen mana in Spriggan form, and then I'm using the totems too. So every time I cast a totem and it dies, I'm getting mana back. And I was playing the big vine version, so I'm just walking through, just popping these big vines and just slap, just killing everything. And then once I get about halfway on my mana, I just spam the totems a little bit, and I'm back to full and just spamming again.
I think Quiet said the next patch that build's dead. So enjoy it for this patch while you can.
Is it dead? Like, I know that they're changing Druid, but like we don't really know like what they're changing yet, right? Or have they released like specifics on what they're changing?
Quiet being a CT, he might have a little bit more inside information on something he's
Yeah,
tested already. So
That's true. Yeah.
You could tell that Kohtas really does love necromancers though, because he's talked about playing all these really good builds, and yet he's still a necromancer player anyway.
Yeah. I log in every day and I'm like, I gotta play my necro. it's like a, I don't know. It's a comfort thing for me. I like just playing the necromancer. I played Diablo 3 and I played Witch Doctor through its entirety, even when Witch Doctor was crap, like just really, really bad starting out. Like you could barely support with it or anything. Like they were really bad. And then somebody, I don't remember who, came up with the zombie bears build, and that's when it just started skyrocketing. Everybody had to play zombie bears. You had to hit up that real money auction house to get your mempo and stuff, so you get your attack speed, so you can shoot the bears out faster. But yeah, I love necromancer. I love like, evil pet classes, even though the witch doctor's not really evil. It's more like, whatever.
he could be Dr. Evil. There we go.
He's,
He's a witch doctor.
he's misunderstood. I think that's the term I want to use.
I love, I'm assuming you guys have played D3, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Pretty safe assumption. No, Perry.
I haven't, no.
Oh, okay.
Well,
The male witch doctor, where he's on the character screen and he's doing the shaking, like because they're cannibals, right? And in real life, if you eat human meat for long enough, you get like this weird like tremor shaking. I used to love the character screen. I just thought I'd bring that up because some people find it funny that he just like wiggles on the character screen. It's the only one that has like an animation like that.
I actually did not know
I
there
don't
was
have a
only one
good
that had
transition to
animation.
this next question.
Nice.
Cannibalism.
Just ask it. I don't listen. I make things awkward enough pretty easily.
No. I got
You're
it.
good.
Speaking of cannibalizing other games, is there another minion or like a necromancer fantasy thing that you would want to see in Last Epoch?
You mean like a specific like archetype or?
Maybe an archetype, maybe like a specific minion that you just wish you could play with in Last Epoch.
I really miss zombie bears from D3. If you've ever played D3, you played Witch Doctor, played zombie bears, you know how fun that ability is. If they could get something similar to that, that would be awesome. And then there was this other. It's probably too gimmicky for Last Epoch, but D3 had this ability called Wall of the Dead, and you used to be able to summon this one where they would climb on top of each other and then fall and smash on stuff. So you have like all these zombies just like climb out of the ground on top of each other and drop over and just splat, and there's like this poison damage on the ground. I don't know. I like some more like cool visual stuff. That or like I hope that when the warlock comes out, we get some like demon pets to play with, some kind of demon summon would be really cool. You know, whether it's by putting points into Acolyte in general, like some imps or something like that. I'd like to see some like imp summoning, similar to World of Warcraft, their Demonologist Warlock, which was the main class I played in World of Warcraft. That, and I played Boomkin as well. But the you can summon a crap ton of imps that just jump on stuff and explode after a while. That would be amazing. Something like that would be really cool. It's similar to It's probably too similar to zombies, but some kind of demons.
I'm stuck on the zombies that climb out of the ground and then climb onto each other and fall on something.
Yeah,
That's awesome. So cool.
It was awesome. It did physical damage too, so it's really easy to build for it. And what you would do, right? They have this thing called piranhas, right? And you just like summon a pool of piranhas on the ground. Well, they had this one little rune that you can pick up, so that you summon the piranhas. It creates this whirlpool. So you just group everything up, summon the piranhas with the whirlpool, and it sucks them in, and then you just cast that like 3 times, and it's just zombies climbing on top of each other and just falling over, and just bang, bang, bang. That's how you would kill everything. It was awesome.
Is that Diablo 3? Or is that something else?
Yeah, it's Diablo 3. You can still run that build.
Do I have to go play Diablo 3 now? That sounds so cool.
If you haven't tried it out, I think it's worth trying it out.
It is worth giving it a try.
Yeah, at least through the campaign. I mean, the seasons or whatever now, they're so gimmicky now with what they're actually doing with them. The first, that's why I quit after the 5th season. Just kind of they started adding some weird stuff, and it's too easy to build now. You basically get a set for leveling to max level now, I think. So I don't know, it's just too easy. I could play it right now if it was fresh season, level 1 character. I could be hitting endgame greater rifts in 5 or 6 hours. Easy.
Yeah, easy.
Like, no problem.
No
problem at all.
I played this past season of D3 when it started for the first time in like 6 months, and I had like a full build by the end of like the first night playing. Yep. Like 8 hours, I had like full set. I had like the ethereal weapon that was like the perfect weapon for the build, everything. And it was just like chewing through T13 rifts after 6 hours.
Yeah, it's just too easy. It's not. There's no challenge to it anymore at all. Like, climbing like really high greater rifts is fine, and it does become a challenge. But the time investment needed to get to that point is it's way too much. Nobody's gonna do it. You get bored by it.
Yeah, like I was about to say, that's my thing with Diablo 3 is that like the initial start of the league is super fun, and then you hit that plateau where it takes forever to actually improve your build to truly push and be competitive.
Yeah, then it's like you need 1,000 more hours to get to this point.
Yeah, so it's like, I put 10 hours into this character and he's a badass, but he's just kind of at this same level of badass for the next like 600 hours. So like, do I really want to do that? The answer is no, I don't.
Yeah. If I ever went back to D3, it would just be to play through the campaign and just kind of get some nostalgia from that. But I don't think I'd ever play any seasons.
I've been playing
the game. I played it pretty hardcore at the start of the season for Diablo 3 and pushed on Frenzy Barb, and that was a lot of fun to play. But like, you did hit like different levels of plateaus, so eventually you would get stuck where it was like, okay, I'm doing 100 GRs trying to get my gems leveled up. You get your gear augmented, then after that you can do 105s. Then you get your gear augmented again, maybe go up to a 110, and then again, it might, every single time you added a new augment, it might allow you to push 5 higher, but eventually you get that plateau, you hit them 120s, you can't push for a while, and that's
it's just a grind fest.
Yeah, and it gets boring. You get tired of it, and you're just like, fuck this, I don't want to do this no more. So,
pretty much. I also played Frenzy Barb, ironically.
One thing I'm glad that Last Epoch isn't doing is putting a lot of emphasis on the sets. The sets seem cool, and it seems like there's a few builds that work really well with them, but they're not like the end-all be-all for the end game. Like, you don't need to farm sets or anything like that. I like that they're there, and there's potential to make something really cool out of them, but I really like that they're not pushing that as like the end game, because that's what Diablo 3 does. Is like, you get your set. Once you have your set, it's just like, I gotta find like an improved piece of this set, or like, the 1 or 2 legendaries that I'm missing, and then there's my build. It's all done.
Yeah, you're
then
just
it's just a stats game after that.
Yeah, you're just like re-rolling randomly a Kadala to like get ancient versions of stuff and crap like that. Where it's like this isn't like it doesn't work like Last Epoch, where like Last Epoch I can go into Echoes and I can target farm exactly what I
love
need.
that. Yeah, I love that the sets are cool and everything, but they're not like the greatest piece of gear. 9 times out of 10, a good like Exalt's going to be your best in slot.
Absolutely.
Unless it's like a build defining unique, like the Baldur's Wrath, something like that.
I don't think I've even used a set item yet in Last Epoch.
I have not. No.
I did like way back when my like Werebear Druid was like level 30. I had like the last bear set on. And yeah, that stuff's like unusable past like level 45 because like the stats just are not good.
Yeah,
I have that new mage staff and helmet. I'm thinking about putting together maybe a source and trying out Lightning Meteor and seeing how that plays out. I haven't. That's like what? That's the new set that just came out. Then they got the the Rogue One too. Is the Rogue One a helmet and a shield? Is that all?
Yeah, so the Rogue One has like a shield
I've been thinking about that too.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the helmet and the shield, the Corsair set, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
That set looks really cool. I actually just got the helm the other day. And I was trying to think of some kind of build to work around it, but
I have the shield. I haven't had the helm drop yet, but I've had the shield drop like 5 separate times now.
Yeah, I got like 6 shields and 1 helmet.
Can I pitch an idea to you?
Sure, go ahead.
I've been thinking the helmet. So like both pieces have like some pretty interesting gear on them, or pretty interesting text, and then this is the rogue only helmet, and then it's a generic shield, so anybody can wear the shield. And then if you put them together, you get 100% of your glancing blow chance is converted to block chance, right? So that's the thing we're talking about. I forget exactly what it's called.
Yeah.
The helmet has an interesting line of text on it. It says % increased block effectiveness, which only appears on 2 items, I think. They're both like set or unique items or something. And then I think there's like 1 or 2 skills that also refer to that % increased block effect, instead of like a flat increase, right? So if you wanted, you could use that helmet on like some kind of like bleed build. Maybe you just forget the bleed stuff, but just like use that helmet, scale block effect, and then instead of using it with the set shield, just use it with like Bastion of Honor, which sets you at 100% chance to block. And then all of a sudden you get to like scale block effect, and then you have like this % increase modifier on your block effect as well. I feel like that's really good. I'm kind of interested in doing it myself, but I will freely give that to you.
I thought I saw somebody maybe last night or the night before talking about the Corsair set and like how they could max out the block or the glancing blow or something like that on it. I can't remember who it was, but somebody was crafting something.
The dodge to glancing blow or whatever it was. They were talking about taking one node, the Blade Dancer node.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think that's what they were talking about. I think it was in that same stream with you whenever they were talking about it.
And you can just Bastion of Honor, and you have 100% block chance.
Right.
Yeah.
0 investment.
Bastion Rogue would be disgusting. What's that set do for the piece again, for the 2-piece set? You know, Perry?
If you put them together, it's 100% of glancing blow chance converted to block chance.
Okay.
There's a bit of flurry and the set bonus is that. But there's also like flurry and I forget the other ability on there. Also with some like bleed damage or something like that.
Well, the helmet has like bleed effect and bleed chance, I think.
Right, that's what it is.
The helmet's pretty good.
Yeah.
Oh man, that would actually be very, very good for a bleed rogue build.
That's why I saw it and I was like, and then my gears started turning a bit, and then I was like, I'm not going to open up the planner right now. Start tooling around with the build. Yeah. Well, yeah, because then you're not attacking as fast. You're playing bleed as fast as like, because I'm going straight. I'm not building on hit damage at all. It's just fast can I stack these bleeds up.
Yeah.
With my build, so
Perry, real quick, with the thing switching it over, do you know if your block becomes counted as a glancing blow if it's 100% of your glancing blows turned over to block? Because my head was thinking, what if there was an interaction between health gained on glancing blow and then blocking constantly with the higher block chance?
I think it's just a block. I think it's converted, right?
Okay.
converted to block chance, so you would have like 0% chance to glancing blow, and then
So you
have
wouldn't be able to
whatever
get health back off of that. Because I was thinking about
not
doing
off
a glancing
I don't
blow.
think so.
Yeah, I was thinking about doing a glancing blow build with increased healing effectiveness and seeing how that would work out with it with a bleed flurry rogue, using that. See if those, because you know how like the rogue, you dodge a lot of your hits, but then you get hit by like one or two every now and then whenever you got really high dodge. I was just thinking to myself, like, in between, if it would go back up though from the healing effectiveness along with the health on glancing blow. I don't know if anybody's tried it.
I can't answer that question, but I can give you something else to chew on with your brain. So in the build that I'm playing right now, I'm playing an Electrify Smite build, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm using a shield because I don't need to use a catalyst for any particular reason. And I was messing around with taking Holy Aura, which does almost nothing for me, but it just happens to be good, I guess. So I was using Holy Aura, and I ran out of nodes to take. So I ran out of nodes after taking like 12 nodes. I had like 8 nodes to mess around with that just did nothing. So the nodes that I ended up taking, I've almost not even read them before. But the nodes are ward gained on block, ward per second, and ward retention. I spec 8 points into those as a paladin, and I maybe I should go back and get the clip. But at one point, my ward shot up to 4,000, and I had like 2k life. And I was like, something happened here, and maybe it's like a special monster type or something. But all of a sudden, I got 4,000 life. So, interesting.
Yeah, I like ward. Have any of you been able to catch Amarathi's stream with the Spellblade he's building?
I know about the build, yeah.
Yeah, I'll say I know about the build.
Ridiculous. Oh,
so I always keep track of builds that would appeal to someone who doesn't play Last Epoch. Because, like, you know, from the outside looking in, like, there's a couple builds that are just so flashy that, like, they probably catch your eye. And I think Bow Mage is probably, like, at toward the top of that list, right?
Oh, yeah.
And that build, it could really pop off in terms of, like, people outside of the LE community knowing it. So, do you want to talk about the build? Do you want to, like, describe it real quick?
Well, I don't know any like heavy specifics. All I really know is that he's using the 2 humming bees because they get the elemental damage on him, and then he's using 2 Ring of the Third Eye, and he's also got those the freezing
shackles.
Frozen shackles.
Yeah, and then he's got
the combination he's going with. Yeah, that's the combination he's going with. He's just shredding stuff. And his ward is just
fuck.
Last I saw. I don't want to give an incorrect number, but his ward retention was insane. So he was getting just massive ward, and he'd jump out of the echo, loot his crap, jump back in, and then like by the time he was killing stuff, his ward he still has like a massive amount of ward.
So like 20,000 is what we're talking about.
Yeah. His EHP is just absurd. It's insane.
It reminds me, and I don't know how many Path of Exile players we have in the audience, but it reminds me of like a Pathfinder running around with like double Dream Feather, or like some kind of lab farmer just. It's so fast.
That's awesome. It's so cool too. Like, and he told me, like, I asked him, I was like, well, how's it going? Blah blah blah. He's like, well, I'm known as like the ward guy. Like, I guess he played a lot of ward builds before he took his break from streaming and then came back. But this is like absurd, and I took notice because I was playing Boardman's build that he came up with, and this is what got me into playing the Blade Master originally. Is I was playing Boardman's build with the 2 humming bees and the 2 Ring of the Third Eyes, just attacking really fast with flurry, and getting like 15k ward. I mean, as soon as you stop because you got no ward retention, it just dips right back down. But you could jump into anything as long as you're attacking really fast. Your ward's up, you're not dying to anything, and that was a lot of fun. Like I was playing.
Just keep hitting things. You're good to go.
Yeah, just keep hitting things. Hopefully, don't get stunned randomly. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. And then I transitioned that into the bleed, and then Amarathi was out there playing with the Spellblade, and I was like, that looks awesome. Like I need to come up with that. I have half of the build in my stash right now. Like I gotta try it at some point.
Well, I think we're coming up at the top of the hour here. Grim, do you want to sing us out?
So that's going to do it here for us for last week of Epoch. Thank you so much, Kohtas, for joining us tonight. from myself, Perry the Pig, and Cynical Squid, we'll catch you guys in the next one. Good night, everybody.
Hey, guys.